Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Re-TFOS, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular one is a series called Billy Bob's Space Trucker, and is written by RegalLegalEagle. This is Chapter 6. There is a playlist listed down below with all the other chapters in it. Anyways, on to the story. Garslisa, Billy Bob's face, was contorted into what his people would call a skull, and what humans in general would call fecking ugly. This being a step up from really ugly they would normally be classified as. What do you mean we haven't found any traces of that ship heading towards the core systems? He was speaking with one of the other cast leaders, Leroy, who was in charge of surveillance and tracking. Normally, Billy Bob respected his compatriot for his tireless work in the service of the cause, but at the moment, he was not exactly thrilled. They have to be on one of a small claw full of roots. His ship is a strange barbaric hunk of junk. And I gave you our exact position we lost contact with. The figure on the screen blinked a few of its eyes and dropped its mandibles for a moment. This was the equivalent of a human shrug. And using this information, I have searched for him and but found no sign. You are positive he did not go another way. You know her mission as well as I. You know her treacherous kin as well as I. She is heading to the capital. Where else would they be going? Cast leader once more blinked a set of his eyes and opened his mandibles. But I found a ship matching that description just recently. One of my surveillance teams noted it entering a black market station we've been watching. The only problem is that it's heading away from the core along the spineward direction. Billy Bob's mandibles twitched and quivered in a motion to indicate thinking. Would they try to take a different route to throw us off their trail? They must still head coreward to get to the capital. How far is it? Show me on the map. He looked at the map that popped up and quickly let out one mandible wiggle to indicate a negative. One creature did not travel that distance in this short time alone. It must simply be another of his kind. Then I am afraid, Cast Leader, that we have lost your prey for the moment. Billy Bob let out an angry chittering and slammed a claw into his console. I've yet to fail in a task given to me by a matriarch, Cast Leader. I will find him. Anger is unnecessary. You must be patient, as with hunting sashiels. They think themselves elusive until we snap. Billy Bob just glared at his screen. That ugly little creature left two of my eyes blind. The searing pain of his chemical weapon is not to be taken lightly. I don't want to wait as if hunting sashiels. Let me charge him like a brisk bull. I will rip him apart in my claws. He seethed and chittered, his normally green hydrating mucus turning grey for a moment. If he is a brisk bull, Cast Leader, he is the most cunning and intelligent one I have ever heard of. Billy Bob cut the feed angrily. He looked over to the security footage image he had placed on one wall of his ship's stateroom. Rearing back on his legs for a moment, he cried out, You cannot hide from me forever. I will find you and have my revenge. Mark my words. Billy Bob, Space Trucker. Slowly, he surveyed the sight in front of him. The 5 space Borks were groaning and trying to recover from their various wounds. He looked between them as he stayed close to one that he'd hit with the throwing knife. Not going to give me any trouble now, are you? They began to open and close each hand as if trying to make a sound, one hand clapping. His translator informed him this was surrender. Good. You people got medics? Feel free to call one out, he said to the bleeding Bork, as it quickly began to grab at some sort of communicator. He looked over at Emily. Not bad, huh? She was looking over the creatures for a moment before glancing back at him. Interesting. Why did you attack the space Borks? Easy. They were bored. With her hood up and the screen in place, she realized that he couldn't see her face, so she made her confusion clear. What? Look, this is a business place, right? I exit my ship and I've got the stupid fecking flickering lights and stains, all kinds of stains. Some of those with blood, I'm guessing. Who has a market set up with flickering lights and stains? Then I see these yokels here standing around with obviously high-powered weapons and targeting computers. Those are a little illegal, right? She nodded. Who the hell hires guards who get bored with their job while wielding gear like that? That isn't pacifier drunk patron gear. That's kill people gear. Am I wrong? Emily thought it over for a moment, then looked at the wounded Vikesh around her. They were known as being a decently hardy and strong race, best known for ambushes and cutthroat raids. Not guards. Of course, Billy Bob was apparently hardier and stronger if the fight was any indication. That sounds logical. Right. Back on Earth, I knew the Spiker Gang. Some badass Speckers rode with that crew. Now, for their bars, they didn't pick the best killer to be the bouncer. Killers get bored being guards. Different types of people. They picked some guy who didn't get bored with his work and knew how to bust someone up and keep him alive. And he wasn't packing a fecking machine gun. What is? It's a big gun just for killing lots of people. Now, if they moved in on someone's territory, well, then their skullcrackers made a presence for a while. He poked one of the groaning Borks who was clutching his head and whimpering. Did you guys just take over? Yes, 3 solar cycles ago we overthrew the space goblins who were running this place. Please don't hit me. Psh. Some space Bork you turned out to be. Billy Bob was slightly disappointed, but Emily was worried. Who hired you? The Bork groaned, and Billy Bob looked at Emily for a moment. She was about to ask him to help, but Billy Bob took it upon himself by giving the creature a gentle nudge with his boot. Hey, the lady asked you a question. We were hired by the Zelvane. He's ordered all ships that dock to be seized and the crew to be sent to holding until further notice. Stop hitting me. Billy Bob, we need to go, Emily said flatly, which caught his attention. As he looked back to her for a moment, he then had to quickly turn back as the doors past the security station hissed open. Fuck, why did I let him call a medic? He mumbled as he looked at no less than 10 Borks, blue shields flickering as they aimed those nasty-looking weapons at him. There were also 2 much larger mechanical things behind them. Out in front of the regular Borks was a bigger one with a green feathered headpiece of some sort, fancy-like. If things got ugly, Billy Bob made a note to kill him first. What? This one creature managed to subdue the 5 of you with a cudgel? He also has a knife, the Bork clutching his arm said defensively. But my what? Billy Bob was asking. He means your stick, Emily offered. It's a baseball bat, Jesus. I need to teach you Xenos about sports. He shook his head for a moment. Captain, this creature is strapped with explosives, one of the big mechanical things behind the other 10 reported. Must be a Bork in a fancy suit, then. That's right, and I'm not afraid to use them. So, like I said earlier, take me to your leader. Billy Bob had bluffed his way out of worse places. The captain growled as it looked down at Billy Bob and then nodded. Fine. But your little stick won't help you against battlesuits. The Borks fanned out as they surrounded Billy Bob and Emily. 3 plus the captain in front of them. The rest plus the mech suit things behind them. As they started to walk into the main station, Billy Bob got a better look at the place. This looked more like a shady market he was used to, aside from the fact the place was empty, which was creepy. There were stalls piled with goods, small carts covered in junk, larger stalls with more established goods. You could smell something that seemed tasty, but there wasn't anyone cooking at the moment. Emily began to speak as they moved. This is bad, Billy Bob. Zelvians are bad, very bad. They worship this sick god that revels in disgusting and twisted spectacles. They come from an incredibly mineral-rich system and exploit that, despite a full blockade by the galactic government. Few species will ever deal with them. The Space Bork's code makes them uninteresting to the Zelvians, so they work as mercs for them from time to time. But even they need to be paid massive sums. This is very bad, Billy Bob. He stayed quiet and looked around as they walked. It was sort of like a big block of stores, and the streets around them had the stalls and carts. But they were walking through the area, heading to some place up and in the center. There were a few more Borks guarding the elevator, but it seemed like this was the main group of Xenos guarding the place. They also didn't seem to understand the concept of firearms, which was good for him. 6 of the Borks and the captain surrounded them in the elevator. As they rose up and emptied out into the sort of control room, throne hybrid-type place. There were no stains or flickering lights in here, but the smell of cleansing products seemed to be universal. Must have done some sprucing up lately. There were mostly unhappy-looking space goblins at the consoles around the place, with some Borks standing over them. Past the consoles, sitting on the throne, was a, oh, hell no. Billy Bob's hands tightened around his bat, his teeth clenched, and his eyes narrowed in a mixture of hatred and disgust. His nostrils flared, his heart rate picking up a little as he worked to control himself. He'd figured there were going to be some sick Xenos out there, but he'd never imagined it would be this bad. Mostly he just added space in front of Earth animals because it worked for him. And this creature certainly fit a certain name. But even he nearly shuddered to say it. That large, grossly rotund midsection, those tufts of stringy cotton candy-like blue hair, those ridiculously large feet, that pasty white complexion, and that face. Oh, that face! Those features wrapped in a strange parody of mixed colors and a giant red nose. He was looking at a motherfucking space clown, he growled out, letting the hatred and anger flow through him. I'm gonna kill the crap out of this guy as soon as I get the chance. Sure, it had 4 arms and an extra eye right in the center of that fat, fecking forehead. As if it wasn't bad enough already, that was a bona fide space clown. When he got closer, to his mounting disgust, he realized that part of that rotund midsection was rippling like some sort of gas bag. And it stunk. If Emily thought his rip the other day was bad, she must be struggling. Then he heard a cough and partially gag behind him. Seemed like she was having a rough time indeed.
What is this? A deliciously hideous creature joining my little show?
The creature said in a high-pitched voice that sounded like fingernails on a chalkboard of Billy Bob's mind. Speak for yourself, you massive pile of runny donkey crap.
Oh, what an interesting expletive, yes.
The Borks forced Billy Bob and Emily closer, as Billy Bob let a hand move down to his M1911. He wanted to end this, but the Borks would likely object.
Yes, I think you'll do wonderfully in the arena. Such a show I have in store for my God. He'll be most pleased.
You know, feckers like you are why preaching freedom of religion is so fecking hard, Billy Bob growled out.
What? There's only one true religion. The others are all wrong.
Yeah, okay. I didn't need even more reasons to kill you.
But I think it's time for you to face my gauntlet of horror.
And what if I don't want to?
Well, you're standing over the trapdoor, so you don't have a choice.
Billy Bob looked at the floor beneath him, noticing the outline. Well, shit. And so ends another chapter in the adventures of Billy Bob Space Trucker. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters. Bushmaster 117, Casper Arnholtz, Dragzoon W.R.E, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, Jon Creighton, and Sevaren Serberous. Thank you very much.